Hello, world. Welcome to another week of Golf Subpar. We are in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Colt Knost and Drew Stoltz. Sleaze, hopefully this isn't our last Golf Subpar, considering we're in Vegas right now.
We are cozied up right here on the couch, ain't we? Up here in the room. Yeah, this could be. We got 3 nights up here. We've already had one. Went well, I thought. Kudos to us for not getting too weird. I did maybe get a little overboard, but the tables were hot, bro. What do you expect the kid to do? My girl Kaya, sorry.
You still don't know
Kaya, don't call me Kia. Dealing out blackjacks, like handing them out like Halloween candy out there. Never seen more blackjacks in one sitting than last night. Good omen for the week.
It was very, very nice to see. We love being in Las Vegas. A little Shadow Creek later on today. Going to be a lot of fun. But first, we got to discuss the Wyndham Championship, one of the most exciting events on the PGA Tour. 6-man playoff, should have been 7. By the way, we threw out Russell Henley in our FanDuel segment last week. We almost started off 2 for 2.
Almost back-to-back. I would have bet infinite amount of money outstanding on the 72nd green there that was going to be a 7-way playoff, but that was a tough one for him. But, yeah, damn near back-to-back to start off this FanDuel partnership there.
By the way, a friend of ours, another bad beat, second week in a row, had Russell Henley to top 5 plus 650.
Oh, my God.
And because there was a 6-way playoff, he finished tied for 7th. Ouch. If he gets in the playoff, obviously, guaranteed win. That is a stinger. But we're going to get to our bets later on. But our man, Kevin Kisner, guy's going to be a future guest on Golf Subpar. I'm actually emceeing his charity event later on in November. Going to be a lot of fun. But the Bulldog got it done and had to catch the attention of Ryder Cup captain Steve Stricker.
If it didn't, I don't know what he's got to do. He was a very, very popular win this past week. And, I mean, it's funny what, you get in a 6-man playoff, like we said, could have been 7. If Adam Scott makes that putt on the first playoff hole, we're probably not having the same conversation about Kiz being on the Ryder Cup team, but he went out there, got it done, and now I feel like the whole world is pulling for Kiz to be on that team. We've been talking about it for a long time. We need some Bulldogs. He and Brian Harmon, 2 double Bulldogs. We need some putters, things like that. He checks all the boxes with that. And I think more than anything, just a great locker room guy, a guy that just got some juice. Like, that stuff is contagious, man. When you look back at Valhalla, for instance, everyone in that room talked about Anthony Kim and the confidence and the swagger that he had in there. I think Kiz is one of those guys. I don't know if we have a ton of those guys on the U.S. side, but I know he wants to rip your face off every time he steps on the golf course with you. And I just think that confidence, that swagger he's got, that stuff's infectious, man. I think that spreads throughout a team room. I think it'd be an incredible pick.
Infectious and spreading. Sometimes not that great.
Not always
Ryder
the best
Cup
in the same sentence.
It is very good. But, yeah, I'm with you. Kevin Kisner is built for Ryder Cups, built for team competition, undefeated in his President's Cup debut at Liberty National, which is where we'll be this week for the Northern Trust. But I love the guy. He's got it, man. He is built for it. I would be very shocked if he wasn't on that team after the performance he put on. I know he had a 0-5 record in playoffs, now 1-6. Or, sorry, 1-5. God, nice math.
Yep, math.
1-5.
It's Vegas.
In 6. Yeah, exactly. But, man, I love this guy. He's got it all. I expect him to be wearing the red, white, and blue at the end of September. But, man, I tell you what, it was so cool to be out there. I was on the call for CBS. 6-man playoff. Should have been 7. I loved all 6 of them going down the fairway at one time. As Kiz said, looked like almost like a hit and giggle at home, just walking down the fairway with so many people. Adam Scott probably should have got it done, but at the end of the day, Kevin Kisner is your champion, moves to 18th in the Ryder Cup standings, which in my mind is perfectly fine.
Just enough?
It's plenty.
Yeah, it's like when you look at what Strick's going to have to, these guys, he's going to have to make these picks at some point, man. You can make an argument for a lot of these guys. He's got all the way down at 18, and we're saying he should be on there. There's guys 17 through 13 be like, what about me? I'm up here too. It's going to be tough, but I think Kiz, I don't know if he punched his ticket, but he may have just punched his ticket with that one. It's going to be tough to hold him off. We got 3 weeks left. A lot can happen, but I think you need some of those bubble guys that have big weeks to potentially knock him out at this point.
By the way, we mentioned Georgia Bulldogs. 10 Georgia Bulldogs made it to the FedEx Cup playoffs. How about that? New all-time record.
That's why we had our friend on, Jeff Mitchell, the legend. Jeff Mitchell, we had him on. I said, can you name all the Georgia Bulldogs on the PGA Tour? He got through it. Kudos to him, but God, there's a shitload of them. If you're a kid out there right now, and you got an offer from them, hard to turn them down looking at that track record. Damn.
No doubt about it. Congratulations to Kevin Kisner, future guest of Golf Subpar.
How about not just the top of the leaderboard, though, the bubble drama with Chess and Hadley.
How
about Chess and Hadley? Marbles, the huge marbles round of the week goes to Chess and Hadley. Needs to shoot, something incredibly low on Sunday. Goes out, shoots 62 just with a little back nine, 29. And, oh, by the way, let me sprinkle on my first ever ace. Not first ever ace on the PGA Tour, but in life, which is hard to believe. Our boy Ches got 25 of them things, and Chesson is sitting on a goose egg until that one. But, dude, he does all that, and he goes in and he finishes it off with a birdie on the 72nd, knowing that every single shot is in or out probably at that point. Does it, stamps a 62. It looks like it's going to be enough based on the finish, perhaps, and then it all comes down to Justin Rose, of all people, needs to make bogey on 18, and damned if he doesn't go in 3-putt.
Yeah.
Wow.
Congratulations to Justin Hadley. So cool to see him get it done. So emotional in the interview with Amanda Balionis, which shows you how much it means to these guys. I mean, the difference in 125 and 126, it doesn't seem like much, but it is a lot. I mean, he is fully exempt next year. He's in the Players. He can plan his schedule. Doesn't have to go to the Korn Ferry playoffs. Instead, he's going to New York for the FedEx Cup playoffs. Awesome. So happy for Chesson, one of the best dudes out there. But, Sleaze, we're switching it up a little bit this week with our guest.
Yes,
going a little away from golf. So if you want to learn a little bit more about The Bachelor, you're going to hear it right here, because we've got one of the most famous bachelors of all time, Ben Higgins, who's a huge golfer, joined us in Memphis. And I tell you what, I didn't know how the hell this episode was going to go. I learned a lot about The Bachelor, and also learned that Ben Higgins is a pretty damn cool dude.
Yeah, dude, I was going in. I was like, all right, we can talk Bachelor for a while. I don't really have a whole, I mean, everybody's watched it. I've watched it, in the years past, but I don't know a whole hell of a lot that goes on. We start off, we're talking about golf with him. He wants to talk golf and all that stuff. Like, all right, bro, like, relax. We talk about golf all the time. I want to hear what this Bachelor life is all about. Damn, that's a wild ride being on that thing. Talk about going from just normal job, nobody knows you, and all of a sudden, bam, cover Us Weekly, all that type of shit. That's a wild ride being the Bachelor. Doesn't sound all that bad at times.
By the way, we actually apply for a job during this interview. A little Bachelor in Paradise. We'll get to that. See if we lobbied get it or not.
We lobbied.
But awesome, dude. Saw him out at the golf course all week at Memphis. He was out there following around Ricky Fowler and a bunch of other guys. I met him at Zach Johnson's charity event. He's been there, I think, 5 years in a row. Just loves it. Awesome, dude. I hope you guys enjoy it. Here's Ben Higgins on Golf Subpar. All right, well, before we get to Ben Higgins, I want to talk a little Travis Matthew. Sleaze, it's no secret. We like making money. Y'all like making money. So why not wear the Moneymaker Golf Shoe by Travis Matthew? It is incredible. It is lightweight. It is waterproof. Most importantly, it's stain resistant in case you pour your little transfusion down there on those things.
It can happen. It can happen. And by the way, it's good enough for world number one Johnny Rahm. Any shoe that's good enough for world number one, probably good enough for the rest of us too. What's the rule? You look good, you feel good, play good.
Yeah.
This helps you knock off number one.
John Rahm wins the U.S. Open wearing those things. You can win your club championship or maybe just a little match with your boys back home. But the Moneymaker is the best new shoe going. It is so comfortable. New money has never looked or felt so good. Visit Quater.com to purchase the Moneymaker today. Use the code SPP20 to get 20% off your first purchase. That's CUATER.com and use the code SPP20 to get 20% off. Quater, the best shoe out there. All right, here it is. Ben Higgins on Golf Subpar.
All right, we got a fellow podcaster in the house today, Colt. So we got to run a tight ship here.
Very.
He is the host of the Almost Famous podcast. You probably all know him as the Bachelor alum, and now he's a diehard golfer. Ben Higgins, welcome aboard.
I think that the golfer part came first. So
Sure.
I was a golfer, then
Okay,
the
golf
Bachelor.
from the jump. And
I would
then you
actually like
turned
to
into
say maybe
podcast.
the reason I became the Bachelor is because I was a golfer, and the host at the time was a golfer, and I think he thought like we get on play a little bit.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But I would say this is our first real podcaster we've ever had on. I mean, with Riggs, he doesn't count.
Doesn't count. Max.
Max Holman definitely doesn't
That
count.
doesn't even count.
But
Yeah.
okay, so you've been a diehard golfer for a long time. When did you start?
So my granddad was a golfer, and so he was tall. He's like 6'4". He used to take me to the course when I was like 7 years old. I picked up my first club. I played up until high school. Stopped playing golf for other sports. Blew out my knee my sophomore year. Picked the club back up again, and I've been playing ever since. I play more now than ever.
Yeah, 6 handicap. I think you told me the other day.
It's gone up a little bit this week.
Oh, good.
Over the
Hey,
last
you don't have to hustle us.
Handicap,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. So I need one more aside.
Yeah, I think I'm up to like a 7-1 now.
Solid.
I've had a rough week, man. I can't get off the tee.
Solid. You're playing some of these like celebrity events now. I think Tahoe, Diamond Resorts, all that stuff. How's that been? For like playing competition, you got to actually put a number up a little tougher.
There's a lot to that. So when I was the Bachelor, I came off the show, and I signed with an agency, and he goes, "What's the one thing you want out of this?" Well, I was like, "Well, obviously, like some hosting gigs would be great, or like some money somehow, some way."
Yeah.
The second thing is I want to get in these golf tournaments. Like I want to play in these celebrity golf tournaments that you see, and I want to get around because I love the game. I love doing it, and so he got me into a lot of them with the help of some other people. And then my dad caddies for me. So like the part is fun for me to play in competition because it makes me feel like I'm actually like a decent golfer.
Yeah,
like for like 4 days of my life, I feel like I'm okay. And then my dad gets to walk with me and walk the fairways, and that's like a memory we'll have forever. He loves it, I love it, and so it's special. Those things are awesome.
When you go to those events, like, are there any expectations, or is it just, dear God, I hope I don't kill anyone. Let's just have some fun out here.
Both. My expectation every year now is to break 78.
Okay.
And I would like to try to do it all 4 days. I haven't yet. But like that's a goal for me as like with my handicap and kind of where I usually play. And the second part of that is, I don't want to like I play in this one called Diamond Resorts in Orlando. It's an incredible event. And last year I got the hooks, and so I was left on everything like duck hooking it, like just yanking it left. And that gets scary. Because then you're like telling people to move out the way at 150 yards down, like left. So that's the second goal, is just don't get the yanks.
I laugh though at those things because I watch them on TV, and playing on tour, I think the gallery's crazy where they stand, and these are the best players in the world. You guys do other things for a living, and they're standing in the exact same place. I'm like, what are y'all doing?
It's wild. I've seen. I have a good story of Ray Romano. Not a good story, I guess, but in Tahoe, he hit a spectator, and he comes in, and he's just a mess. Like. Just like breaking down at dinner, like I can't believe I did that. I hope they're okay. Like, and so I get on the tee the next day, and I'm playing with a couple guys, and everybody's like shaking on the first tee, like shaking, and everybody's saying like because of what Ray did yesterday. So I'm with you. Like I think it's crazy. Like not too many people are good golfers who don't play consistently. I'm one of those people that's not that great.
I'll see Barkley like hit one in the trees, and the gallery swarms it, and then guys are sticking their head around to try to get the bird's eye. I'm like, what are you? He's over here for a reason, bro. And I don't know if you've seen the clips. But have you had any like because playing in front of a camera, there's cameras that are all these things, a lot different just playing with your boys. Any embarrassing moments or anything that stands out?
So I think those two are on NBC. I think the coverage is, and there's I was in Tahoe. And you can hear it was like my one clip of it, and you can hear my dad going, all right, we just need a good shot here off the tee. Just get a good drive out there. And I was like, okay, good. So I swing and I just top it, like right into the grass in front of me. And you just see the best one I had. The most embarrassing thing for me is to see my dad in the background just go, oh, God.
He's let me down.
Like,
It's not my son.
Yeah.
It's not my son.
Head sink to his chest. My face is just blank. He's my caddy, which their one job is to keep you going, right? Yeah. And he just gives up. Like just.
Is that first tee?
No, that was probably
okay.
like the 11th tee. I think at that point I'd had a couple more of those.
At least it wasn't the first.
Yeah, well, maybe you get rid of it after the first.
But I feel like, Tahoe is the one of
Yeah.
those events. It's the big time one. You get the incredible field, the gallery. How much fun is that week, though, getting to see all those other athletes and celebrities?
Man, it is special. So you the two big ones are like Tahoe and Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are the two big ones. Tahoe is the one that's like kind of, if they ever did a tour, that would be the finishing tournament, like the biggest deal to those guys. For me, it's incredible because I come from the world of reality television. I'm not going to sit here and say I have any tangible skill set to put me on that show, right? Like I've gotten very lucky to kind of have this like very layman's view of the celebrity world. But we're sitting in a room, like, this is a good story. So we're sitting in the room the night before Tahoe. My dad and I are so nervous. Greg Maddox is sitting behind us, who is my, like, childhood, like, celebrity, like, idol. Larry the Cable Guy sitting one row in front of us, like, and it's this room full of, like, Hall of Famers, everything they've done. And so they do the announcement. They do this every year where they announce, like, the new guys to Tahoe. They're like, here's DeMarcus Ware, 9-time Pro Bowler, sack leader. Here's perfect. Emmitt Smith, all these things. And then they get to me, Ben Higgins, 20th season of The Bachelor. And you have to stand up and wave. And Larry the Cable Guy looks back at me at this room full of people. My dad's sitting next to me. We're nervous already. He goes, well, that's pretty underwhelming. It's so like, for me, I just feel like I'm lucky to be in those rooms, but they are exciting. And it's really unique because some of these guys are really good. Yeah. Like, this year in Orlando, we had Annika Sorenstam, who played, which is incredible to be playing next to her. So there's great things to take from. These are memories that will last me a lifetime.
Okay.
Have you played out there long enough to develop any rivalries, like a guy you like more or less the same skill set and you want to beat him?
It's Kevin from The Office.
Yeah,
we're about the same handicap. He's a great dude, and like anytime he's in a tournament with me, like I kind of like match myself up with him if I'm playing better. And Brian Urlacher. So Brian Urlacher and I got to play with John Rahm a few years ago and the BMW. It was in Chicago. And this is when, how many years ago was that when it was in Chicago? Like maybe 4 or 5 years ago? So John was young. Like, he was just coming on. People knew he was going to be good, but he wasn't like the well-known name he is now. And Brian and I played in that together, and we were about the same. So those two guys are the guys I kind of measure myself up to. And then they're also, like, Brian's the guy if I ever go out to Scottsdale, I'd try to play with.
Has he pulled any pranks on you? He's the oldest 12-year-old in the world.
Who, Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's
Like a
also the
snake.
biggest mountain biker you'll ever see in your life.
Crazy. Yeah.
So, like, he picked that up here recently in life, and he's massive, and he'll come into these tournaments now in shorts, and, like, his legs will be all cut up. He's like, because I was just cruising, 30 miles per hour down the mountain last night. Yeah, he is. He's a massive child.
So
He's the best.
Bumgardner Kevin from The Office?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Love him. Sweater vest every day, whether it's 110 or 50. He's fantastic.
I saw him out there this year and I talked to him just briefly, but how weird is it the first time you meet him, all you've ever seen him in is Kevin from The Office, and you kind of expect that, and then he's like a really well-spoken, articulate, very smart guy, and you're like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea.
It's probably why he's so good at what he does,
Yeah.
right? It's this thing. I mean, it's weird for me for all these things because I get to meet these people that I've watched for years, like him, and you meet him in person and you're playing golf next to him. You're talking about life. Like Jim McMahon and I got to play together in Tahoe, and he's walking on the fairway. He was a character, right? But, seeing the hits that he takes, seeing his history, and now I'm playing golf alongside of him. Here's another one. I'll keep ranting, but Tahoe does this thing. And I want to preface all of this with saying, like, and I don't mean this to demean myself at all. I have a great life. I'm very, like, happy with the life I'm living. But you have to understand that, like, I grew up in Indiana. At 26 years old, I was asked to be on a reality television show. I go on this show, become the Bachelor, and then all of a sudden my life changes in ways that, like, I never expect. And over time, I start to believe I'm actually pretty cool. And then you get
What's
humbled.
that feel like?
Yeah, you get humbled a little bit. But no, so all this is, like, coming from somebody that kind of gets to live the dream, like, without a lot of work put into it, which is unfair. But I get invited to Tahoe, which is one of my dreams in life. I love watching that tournament. They send an email out to anybody that's signed up for the golf tournament. They say, hey, now is a chance to sign up for karaoke night at Tahoe. And all my buddies who have played in this tournament had said, if you want to get invited back, just say yes to everything. Do whatever they ask of you. It's like, well, that's my motto. So they say, here's karaoke night. So I'm like, I guess I'm signing up for it. Like, karaoke sounds fun. So I sign up, and they're like, what song do you want to sing? And so I sign up for Whitney Houston.
Smart.
I want to dance with somebody. And I'm thinking, this will be fun. This will be easy. This will be hilarious, right? So we go to that opening meeting that I told you about. After the meeting, they open up a cocktail bar for everybody, and we're standing getting cocktails. And this guy comes up who's a guitarist for the event. And he said, from Rascal Flatts.
Yeah.
And he said, Ben, you must be a good singer. No, man, I'm a terrible singer. Like, I am. And I don't know where this is. Yeah, I don't know where this is coming from. I'm like, I'm a terrible singer. Not at all. And he goes, seriously? I said, yeah. And he goes, why? I said, why do you ask? And he goes, well, you signed up for the hardest karaoke song, like Whitney Houston, for karaoke night. And I was like, well, yeah, just to have a good time. And he's like, do you know what karaoke is? I was like, I have no idea what karaoke is. I've never been to this thing. He goes, Ben, karaoke is actually just an excuse for Tahoe to have, like, Justin Timberlake sing a song on stage for free. Like,
Rascal Flatts.
Yeah,
all these dudes.
Rascal
Yeah,
Flatts.
exactly.
Like, all these.
Not Ben Higgins.
Not Ben Higgins. And I'm like, oh, crap. But I was like, I've already signed up. Like, I can't back out now because that would be a terrible look. The better thing would have been not to sign up at all. So it gets to the evening of karaoke. Karaoke is actually on the lake there. There's 1,500 people, everybody in the tournament, and everybody goes one at a time. Finally, it gets to me. And it's all professional singers who have gone at this point. I get up there. You don't even have words to these songs. So I start singing, and I finally, like, start singing, and everybody in the audience just turns and starts looking at me. And I could just feel it. I mean, and I look to my left, and there's Tony Romo and Aaron Rodgers staring right there at me, like, front row. My parents are out in the audience. My dad probably has his head in his chest again, not looking at the stage. I walk off stage after this horrible, awful
Any
performance.
applause?
No applause.
Perfect.
And Tony Romo puts his arm around me and he goes, man, you've got some big balls. Like,
Dude.
really proud of you. And all week, that's what I was known for. I thought it was going to get me invited back. It didn't. But if you can find a clip of it, it's more than embarrassing.
Who was it that told you that, hey, you got to just say yes to everybody?
Colt Ford.
Was he just pranking you or no? Yeah.
I feel like he was because
Yeah.
he's a professional singer, so he's singing just fine.
Yeah.
I also think, like, in his mind, it's probably my best move is just to do it and see if it makes a name enough for me to get invited back. It didn't work.
That
like the
is
ninth green at
fantastic.
9.
Yeah.
How fast was your heart beating while you were up there singing?
It's one of those moments that, you have those dreams that, like, all of a sudden you're standing in front of a room full of people naked and, like, you're embarrassed. It's kind of how like it's really like the first time in a long time I had been like shocked, like to like paralyzed in embarrassment on stage, and then something clicked in my mind. It's like, you're already up here. You can't walk off now. You've got to own it.
Dude, props to you.
There's a bunch of people watch that thing too. Yeah.
Oh,
How many cocktails before to get up there?
Oh, we took, as soon as I found out what it was at the bar until they announced my name. I'm telling you, like, I know this story probably didn't do it justice, but when you stand in front of 1,500 people, most of which you watch on TV because they're really good at their sports, and all the eyes are on you, and everybody's like giggling and laughing, like, it's not a great feeling. That's especially because you feel like you don't belong there anyways, and you really don't. But
that is a fantastic
and they put you at the end
story.
after all the good acts. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We got Justin Timberlake, Ben Higgins, then Rascal Flatts. Perfect. No big deal.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Shouldn't be a
If
problem.
anybody needs to go get a drink, now's the time.
Yeah, 100.
But something you said earlier said you got asked to be on a reality show.
Yeah.
So I want to know, because I have no idea how this process. I see the number
Yeah,
come
let's
out
go.
after the show and everything.
Yeah.
We're going to dive into this pretty
Let's
good.
go.
So you actually got asked. You didn't sign up for it.
Well, kind of. So what happened was I do some work with an organization out of Honduras, and I was flying home from Honduras, and I was connecting in Houston. So I was with a couple buddies of mine who had gone down with me, and we were sitting there in Houston on the plane, and a guy walks past. My buddy goes, "Oh, that's so-and-so from The Bachelorette." And I had watched the show with my mom growing up, and so I knew of it, but I hadn't watched it for a few years. And it hit me at that point. This is kind of a weird story. It hit me at that point that like regular people go on the show. Like some guy getting on a plane, sitting in the back of the plane, was on the show at some point. My buddy knew him. And so I go back to the office, and I was working in financial services at the time. And I'm literally 3 days later, I'm sitting there, and the marketing director at the company came up, and she's like, "Ben, casting calls are for The Bachelor downtown Denver today. Will you go with me?" She has no idea that I just met, like that just had already been fresh in my mind. I was like, "I'm not going to a casting call. Like, no way you're getting me to go to a dating show casting call." And she said, "Well, if I sign you up, will you sit next to me and do like the video and the pictures and all that?" I said, "Oh, of course. That sounds great." So we took an hour that day, signed me up. A week later, they called. And that's where the process started. And mostly it was me going, well, somebody, I'd seen this guy on a plane, and then 2 days later, somebody just asked me. And so I kind of got signed up, but kind of helped with the process.
All right, so you go through that. I got to know how we get actually onto the show. So there's got to be a million dudes out there that all go through this stuff, and they weed out 90% of them, I think, right off the jump, and then they weed it down. What happens after all that? You got to go through like some interview processes or background checks or what?
Oh, yeah, all of it. You go through all your health checks, background checks, but then it's really like week after week they kind of call you and check in on you. They like to like Skype with you, I think, to see what you're up to. And that lasted for about 6 months until
it's the real
and then finally they said, "Hey, will you come to LA to meet people in person?" And so then they fly you out to LA. This was my first time in LA, was when I flew out for the casting. And you stay in this this hotel down by the airport, and you walk into this room full of about 20 people, and they just start throwing questions at you. I was fresh off an ACL surgery at the time, so I was on crutches, which I think like gave me the benefit of the doubt with the sympathy.
Smart.
But then that happened, and a month later you find yourself back out in LA for the show. So it was about a week after my time in LA that they called and they said, "Hey, we want to actually ask you to be on the show," and then things started getting real.
So were you ever like, I don't know if I want to do this, or was it just like, nope, you know what, let's just go for it?
I don't know if I ever was. I don't know if I want to do this. What happened? The only thing restricting me was my job. And so I had told myself, if my job, my parents, my family, if any of them said don't do it, I wasn't going to do it. And so I told my friends, and they're like, "You should do it." Mostly I think they wanted to like, make fun of me the whole time.
Yeah, of course.
My family was all in on it. I was living in Denver. I was working this job I didn't love. I didn't really have any friends out there at the time. I just moved there. And so I think they were wanting me to spice life up a bit too. And like I said, I was young. I was 25 years old at this point. And then my boss said, "Hey, how about you take a sabbatical? Take 3 months. Go do what you need to do this show, come back, you have a job again." I was like, well, I'm going. Like that. And then there was no question in my mind if I should do it or not, really. It just felt like it would spice life up, if anything.
So take us.
Go ahead.
No, I'm fascinated by this. So you get there. So now we're getting ready to start shooting the show.
Yeah.
I don't know how many producers there are or anything like that, but how much are they in like everyone's ear saying like, we need someone to act this way, we need someone to act that way?
Scripting.
Okay, so how I'd say this is like they kind of play God. So like there's 200 people that work on that show. It's a huge show. It's a massive deal. And so they kind of have cameras everywhere, or they have camera people everywhere, and they have their control room that they sit in that people, for whatever reason, think it's like an evil control room. It's like, well, it's a television show at the end of the day. Like, they got to have a place to produce. And so they see everything going on, and then they're talking with you, but they become, like, it's a bubble. So they become your only friends. They become your confidants. They become the people you lean on for support and help. And so at some point, they do have some ability to manipulate the situation. But I never remember them ever telling me, you need to do this. So I always say, when the people, come off the show and they blame production for whatever, it's like, well, you had a choice in the matter. Like, you were just easily swayed. So for me, I never felt like they manipulated me too much. But I always remember them saying, hey, you should go talk to her right now. And it's like, well, she's talking to my buddy. Like, well, you should go interrupt that.
Go blow that up.
Well, yeah, it's like, well, how can I do this to not make him upset? Like, that's the kind of situation you're in.
Do you know who the girl is when you like apply?
I found out so you go to a hotel 3 days before shooting starts. So you're in a hotel up in Agora Hills, and I was able to watch TV in the hotel. You're not able to watch TV on the show. And I was watching I was watching The Bachelor's ending, and they announced The Bachelorette that night, and then the next day we start filming.
Oh, so you find out the day before you go. No TV on the show, no TV. So
no
Super
TV,
Bowl's on. I don't know what time of year it was.
March Madness. Well, yeah, March Madness is usually
So you
on.
don't know who's winning nothing.
Well, they gave a bracket out, and they would update us on that. But, like, no TV, no cell phone, nothing. Like, which is actually kind of nice because you're trying to date in a weird environment. And so when you, like, don't have anything else to do but to talk about dating, you do get focused in. But it also can get really boring.
But how long is this process? Because, I mean, you're saying no cell phone, no TV, and, I mean, you were second runner-up in season 11.
Yeah, so I was third.
So how long does this whole process take?
I was there about 11 weeks.
Damn, that's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. 11 weeks from start. Well, maybe it might even got on the 13 or 12 weeks start to finish. So you're there about 3 months without any access to the outside world.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
No phone, no nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah. What happens if you show up and you find out the day before they just announced some train wreck girl that you can't stand? You're just like, oh, see ya. Or you just got it out.
I think most people nowadays would say you get out. So, like, I was on The Bachelorette before social media was really a big thing. This is 2016. And so back then, you really only go on the show to, like, have fun, like, see what happens. Nowadays, I think people go on the show to try to get, like,
blow
some
up,
monetary benefit.
100%.
And so nowadays, I think you just say, yeah, I'm going for it. I think back then, like, the season I was on had 2 bachelorettes. So we had to vote night one on which one we wanted to stay.
Oh, wow.
And one of the guys that was on the season actually wanted the other girl to stay that wasn't chosen. So he left on night one. And I don't think he regrets it. Because back then you just did that because you wanted to see if this would work out. I think nowadays people would just stick around just to see what could happen.
Follow me on Insta.
So you're off the grid for 11 weeks doing the show, and then it comes out.
Yeah.
At what point do you kind of realize, wow, I'm kind of famous now?
For me, it wasn't really until I was The Bachelor.
Really?
Well, yeah, because it was in between there that social media started to get really popular. And then you're one of 30 dudes for, a long time. And then as soon as they announce you're The Bachelor, all of a sudden, now you're on the cover of magazines. Now people are talking about you. Now your following starts to increase. Now people are judging and criticizing you. That's when you really start to feel like that little moment of fame is because you start to get criticism for the first time. When you're on The Bachelorette, you don't really get that much criticism because people forget about you pretty quick. But now you realize, oh, no, people actually care to have an opinion on me when you start seeing the negative stuff.
When you're The Bachelor and you're the one picking and you're giving out the roses and all that, is there ever a time where they come to you and be like, hey, dude, even if this chick ain't the one, let's keep her going because she moves the needle? Because it seems like there's, no matter if it's Bachelor, there's always a one psycho that, like, gets in that makes it, like, way further than they should. You know what I mean? I'm like, how is this chick still around? She's a train wreck.
So there's a couple ways to do that. One is they hide you from a lot. Like, if I'm in this room and somebody's in the room next to me and they're having a breakdown, they're never going to let me go into that room. So I'll never see it. So unless they tell me or somebody else tells you as The Bachelor, like, you don't even know what's happening. So you're not familiar with a lot of the stuff, the crazy stuff that's going on until it's time for you to see it. And that's why I kind of say, like, hey, I wasn't really, like, manipulated much. I just wasn't aware of a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you're kind of unfamiliar with it. Now, if you're letting somebody go, because you do get to choose who you let go, and the show wants them to stay, I I guess the best, like, it's kind of an unspoken secret where they're like, hey, there's more to get to know about her. And instead of me, like, throwing a fit and be like, no, I want to let her go. Like, no, like, I mean, you want to have a good relationship with the people in the show. You know where you want this to end anyways, with hopefully meeting somebody, if not having a good time. You're tired the way it is. You don't want to argue with them. You just say, okay,
She makes girls cry. You should probably keep her around.
There's more to get to know about her. Yeah.
So one thing, like, I mean, the first rose ceremony, there's, 25
Yeah.
women there.
Yeah.
Okay, how many times does it take to go through there with you saying the right name every
Yes,
single
dude.
time?
Oh, yeah, that's a common
You gotta have
question.
name tags or something.
So that's the easiest part of the night, because what you actually do is you can pause whenever you want.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Here we
nobody
go.
knows this. So, like, you can walk out of the room. Now, the show doesn't love it, but, like, if you're like, I'm stuck, you can walk out, get a drink, take a breather, like, figure out what name's coming up next. That can happen, and then it's not as long of a process. You have to remember 25 names. The hardest part, though, is for the most part, night one is very, like, free go, and the show just follows you. Is when, like, somebody comes up to talk to you on night one, and you don't have any resource to know their name. And I had two girls, which I think is a terrible move, go, what's my name? Like, the whole, like...
That's
and
just
I
setting you
think
up for
it's-
failure.
Exactly. And so I think that's the hardest part, because all of a sudden you're anxious all night about these girls' names and, like, that part. But the rose ceremony, you can, like, I tried to do it, like, every 5 girls, because you don't want the girls to think you're going back there getting their names anyways.
They got to know, though. There's no one that can memorize 25 after 2-minute little meetings.
You got to try to stay
I don't know half my
impressive.
cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you come up there and you got to give, like, the monologue, like, hey, girls, I had a great time. How many takes does that take? 'Cause that's like a little lengthy. That's a little
None.
lengthy speech. No, you're just going straight off the top, or what?
You just go with it.
Freestyle.
Yeah.
Respect.
There's no, like, re-editing, like, no redos here. Like, that's the cool part about this show, is, like, there's no redo. So if somebody's, like, a total doofus, they're gonna look like it.
Yeah.
You just, there's no, like, hey, can I start this over? Mostly because, like, the hardest part about the show is The Bachelor is, like, you want these women to feel like you're actually attempting to date them for a long time. Like, you don't want them to think that this is some, like, fake thing that they're playing into.
Yeah.
So you try to keep it as natural as possible for as long as you can, even though, 25 people.
So in this 3 months, do you ever get a day just to go be by yourself and do something you want?
This is the wildest thing. So I'm an only child.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, pretty big introvert. I really need my time. It's probably why I love the golf course. Like, I need my time, just, like, sit and think. The show knew this about me. And then at some point during the process, the show decided to have my handler, like, pretty much follow me around wherever I went. Like, I think, like, to exhaust me. I have yet to get a good answer on why this guy followed me, like, my age, followed me around. But he did. He followed me everywhere. So, no, you don't get any time alone.
Wow, that's tough.
Flights, you kind of get alone. Like, if you fly somewhere, you're flying, and you get some quiet time. Except 2 of our flights, the women actually ended up being on the flight with me, and so, like, they'd be, like, sneaking notes up front to the plane.
Y'all on the same plane?
Yeah, which is super awkward.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, super weird because you can't talk to them because
Yeah.
there's no cameras filming. So, like, they're just like, don't say anything, like, don't make eye contact. So you just, like, sit in your seat, and they're sitting 4 rows behind you. It's real weird.
How hard is it when you go? I assume you watched, like, your season when you were The Bachelor, right? Like, you go back and you see some of these, like, you got a one-on-one. We've all been there. You're one-on-one with you say some things you might not necessarily want your boys hearing back home. You know what I mean? You're like, dude, I'm going to get worn out. Like, my heart beats, whatever, that type of shit.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, God, dude, it's over. That's tough.
Oh, it's awful. And it's still to this day is something that, like, I get texted. The memes and the GIFs are the things I get texted to this day from my buddies. Like, yeah, I mean, there's 100 of them you could Google, like, where, like, I do something embarrassing and stupid.
Yeah, you just get mushy and say something, and you get dragged
and then,
by your
like,
buddies.
You watch it with your grandma one night, and, like, they do the up-close scenes of you kissing, and the sound is on. You have a mic, and so you can hear it. And she's, like, sitting next to you, and you just, like, want to crawl away. You feel like a teenager all over again. It's funny, though. Like, my buddies handled it pretty well. Before I left for The Bachelorette, one of my best friends came up to me. He's like, well, this will be fun for you. But we'll see you in a couple weeks. And I was like, well, that hurts. He's like, well, there's some studs on that show. Like, there's some, like, and I was like, well.
You're going to lose, dude.
Yeah, you're not going to. And
you're not that sweet.
And then when I was announced as The Bachelor, the same guy said to me, he goes, well, now you're just king of the nerds. Like, and so I've always kind of laughed about it because he's not wrong. Like, everybody there is just a bunch of dudes or women just trying to figure it out, probably pretty young. And I just, was king of the nerds.
What was that moment
King of
like,
the
though,
nerds.
when you found out you were going to be The Bachelor? Because, I mean, That's crazy. I mean, you're on every magazine cover.
Yeah.
You're on every talk show.
Yeah.
I watched a deal with you on Ellen earlier today.
Yeah.
That's large.
Nice research.
Yeah.
I was actually sitting at my cubicle. I was working a job in. I lived in Denver, but I was flying to an office in Tampa, Florida, every week, and so I was sitting at my cubicle in Tampa, Florida, when I got the phone call. So I'm in this like office at this brokerage firm, sitting in my cubicle, and I get a phone call, and they're like, "Hey, we want to ask you to be the Bachelor," and like, you want to talk about two weird worlds colliding. Like, I'm in the basement in an IT department writing user manuals for a living. I get a call to ask me to be the Bachelor, and I have to say yes in that moment. Like, I'd say the biggest thing was like kind of just the shock, and then the coolest part was calling my family and being like, "Hey, this is happening," and just hearing their support. Like,
So you had to decide right then. Like then you say,
I had take a minute to think?
I pretty much knew.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a week to like kind of decide and negotiate like all the like terms of it, which means pretty much, are you going to sign this or not? But yeah, it was a weird time. I mean, it still feels almost like a dream for me, and I say that just because, like, you know, you both have accomplished cool things in your life, and I believe I have too. I just never expected reality television to be a thing that kind of like enhances it all. And for me, it's been a wild experience. I mean, I'm getting to hang out and play golf this weekend with a bunch of cool people because I was on a show a few years ago.
Yeah, get to sing karaoke in front of
Yeah,
some famous
get to
folks.
I bet that's I honestly bet. I don't know. It'd be interesting if one day you ever like met like Romo and you ask him, "Do you remember when Ben Higgins sang karaoke at Tahoe?" I think it was so bad that he might just say yes.
God, I hope so.
Yeah, we can find out.
He's been on this show
right now.
We'll ask him.
Yeah, yeah, we were just up there. What was I gonna ask you? Oh, when you get announced to be Bachelor, all right, you're the Bachelor, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna come out, all this stuff. Every dude that shows up, like, it's like they got on steroids and get in the gym and all this stuff. They make you like, "Hey, dude, you need to start working out. Cut your hair. We're gonna do your hair this way." Like, they do the whole nine or what?
Do I look like I'm on steroids? Or
I don't know. Some of these dudes show up and I'm like, what do
Yeah.
these guys do? They're like, "Oh, I'm a sandwich maker," and then they're just yoked.
I had long hair, like down to my shoulders when they first asked, and they asked me to cut it. They did do that. They said, "We think you look better with a cut." So I did cut my hair. I dieted hard and I lifted as hard as I could, and I still was like the smallest dude there. I remember sitting there on night one and these guys walk in. Well, okay, we get picked up at the hotel on night one in a limo, and you drive over to the mansion. I'm sitting in the limo, and we're all like nervous and asking each other, "What do you do for a living?" One guy was a former professional baseball player. Another guy was a doctor. Another guy was a dentist. Another guy owned his own gym that was doing super well. And then they asked me, and I'm like, I write user manuals for a living. Like, I don't belong here. And then night one happens, and you're sitting. I was the very first person out of the limo. So I was the very first person in the mansion. I'm sitting on the couches watching these dudes walk in, and they walk in, they're confident, their suits fit nice. I had just gotten my suits at Kohl's. So I'd bought 3 suits at Kohl's and got them tailored down, and I thought that was like going to work perfect. But these dudes are walking in and like they're like, I don't know, Versace like clothes, and their shiny shoes, and their hair's all slicked back. And then like 2 days later, we have a pool day, and like everybody takes their shirts off. And like, I remember this, I'm in the bathroom there because we only have 4 bathrooms in the mansion for like 25 people. And I'm like trimming my chest with my like razor, like
Push-ups and shit.
I'm like pounding out there.
There we go.
I really was. I was like, I remember this like panic, like, oh gosh, like I don't want to do this. And I walk out and just everybody's cut up. And then finally, one of the producers came up to me. He's a good buddy now. And he goes, "Just own it. Like, you're not here for that. That's not you." And I said, "All right." So I did. In fact, when I was the Bachelor, if you watch, when my shirt was off, I had just the hairiest chest of all time. Because that guy was like, "Make a statement. Like, bring the hairy chest back."
Yeah, bring that.
Love it.
Yeah.
It worked.
I'll be honest.
Throwback.
The only season I've watched all the way through, and this is before I even knew you, and I think I told you this at Zach's event, was yours because I knew JoJo from Dallas.
Oh, yes.
We used to
Yeah.
party it up in Dallas a little bit, so I actually watched that whole season, and now we're sitting here with you. This is
What'd you
crazy.
think of me back then?
What was wrong with JoJo, dude? No, I'm kidding.
yeah, no.
You'd be amazed how many times I got that question.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were fantastic. I like you way more now, though.
Oh,
We've had some good times
yeah,
up at Zach's.
that's funny you said that. JoJo was awesome, and her whole family was like connected in this Dallas scene. So like, I have met so many people who have been like, "Yeah, I know JoJo back then," and you had said that, and it's just it's wild that people like you get to pick it up because you knew somebody on the show.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, this has been fascinating for us. I know
Well,
this is definitely a different direction.
Yeah.
than anything
We
we've
ask a
ever
lot of
done.
golf questions typically. Now
Yeah.
we're digging in.
I'll say one though, because I mean, obviously you played quite a bit of golf with Chris Harrison,
Yes.
former host of The Bachelor and Bachelorette. who gets the better of who on the golf course?
We're pretty even. It matters where we're playing at. So I always love playing Sherwood with him out there in Los Angeles, and we go back and forth. I will say he's probably a better competitive golfer than me. He gets less nervous. I get pretty nervous, pretty anxious, but like he's just used to calming the nerves. He actually, man, he's been good to me. He took me to Pebble Beach a few years ago. We got to play that together. I've had some of my best golfing experiences with him. But I don't know, he might be playing more golf now than usual. But when I played with him last time, I think we were both around a 7.
Yeah.
He might be a little lower at this point.
Did he have the best gig on the planet? Because like some of these episodes, like I'd watch it, and like you don't see him. It's all y'all dating, doing all, and then he comes in, and it's the whole 2-hour show or whatever it was. He coming like, ladies, this is the final rose, and then he walks up. I'm like, that's all he did for the whole freaking show. He probably playing golf for the last 3 days.
Well, on Paradise, when they're in Mexico, they stay at the big resort down there that has a Greg Norman course. I forget the name of it at this point, but like there'd be days that he wouldn't have to go to the house. Yeah. So he would just play golf.
Best gig of all time.
After 20 years of being pretty good at your job, you kind of like earn that moment, right, to be able to do that. But I remember even during the Bachelorette, we were staying in Northern Ireland at Enniskillen, which is a Faldo course designed there, and my room faced the 18th hole. And I would look out my window, and I promise you, like 3 times a day, I would see Harrison walking up the 18th hole. I think like when we were out there, we had a week off because the storms had came through, and so he would just be out there playing golf. Yeah, it was a good gig. But you know, again, after 20 years, he kind of deserves it, and it was cool because it was something we connected on. Like we became actual buddies, where like you go on the show and you feel like, I'm just another dude that he has to coach through this process at some level. We actually started talking golf, and then, you know, we'd be able to go and play golf when no cameras are around and actually get to know each other. And I'm thankful for him. He's a good friend.
I got to meet him at the Greenbrier. We went to a Kenny Chesney concert, shared quite a few cocktails together. What a great dude.
He's a good, God, he was awesome. He's a good time. He is, and I hope he's doing well. And I actually just got to talk to him because his birthday was a week ago. And I know there'll be more golf to come for him and I, but I do. Yeah. I when anybody asks me like, what's some of the coolest stuff Harrison's ever done for you? I was like, well, he took me to Pebble. Yeah. Like it's pretty legit. It's hard to beat that.
Yeah.
Well,
he had it figured out.
Yeah, he did. He had an unbelievable gig. We got to let you talk a little bit about your podcast, Ben and Ashley I, Almost Famous Podcast.
Yeah.
By the way, I pulled it up on iHeartRadio, and I love the description of Ashley I, who says she's a notorious crier.
Yeah.
I feel like you wrote that for, like, I'm scared if one of us wrote our description for each other.
Oh, it's yeah, I think I did. So we've been going on 5 years now with iHeart. That happened kind of randomly. I had a weird story. I was working at the office I was telling you guys about. I'd started a company called Generous Coffee Company. So we sell coffee and we donate 100% of the profits to nonprofits. And I was working both jobs. I was starting Generous and working writing user manuals. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make both these work. Well, then iHeart called. And they said, hey, we want to do a podcast. And it allowed me to leave the brokerage job. So podcasting is a great gig because, you know, you work a couple hours a week. You get to have some great conversations, which I love to do. And then I could leave this, pretty much put my computer down and go and start working for Generous. And so it's been a wild ride where we talk pop culture. I also have the best job in the land because my whole gig is Ashley Iaconetti, who's a crier, knows everything about pop culture, knows who's dating who and why they're dating who and what's going on in the world. And all I get to do is sit there and learn because I know nothing about it. So like I'm like the dad in the game that just gets taught lessons. And it's been cool enough where like I've actually a month ago launched a new podcast called Hope Still Wins. Kind of off of Almost Famous and the platform that's been built because it's something I care about and it's a passion of mine. So yeah, it's been a fun ride.
We get asked all the time, dream guest, you get one. Who do you want to have on?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, it would have been Anthony Bourdain. Mm-hmm. That would be the one until he passed that I always would say like that. I've always found him fascinating. I think Justin Timberlake because I just think he brings an audience. Like I think he brings a crowd, and right now, like we need it, and I feel like he's a pretty good interview. But for my co-host Harry Styles, and for my fiance, she likes him too. I guess I just found that out. Those two.
What girl doesn't?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, Timberlake and Styles. Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for asking that. Almost Famous and Hopes to Wins have been cool gifts in my life.
That's really cool.
Beautiful.
It's fun.
Check it out.
You've been doing it for 5 years. We've been doing it a year and a half now, and it's just so much fun. Just sitting here talking with guys like you.
Yeah, and getting to meet people. And my whole life, the last few years, have been getting to meet people. And like you mentioned, we got to hang out the Zach Johnson golf tournament last weekend. Another dude who I've gotten to meet kind of through the golf world, who a few years ago took me to the Masters with him. My dad was suffering from bad heart disease, and Zach at that event had heard my dad over talking that his bucket list was to go to the Masters, and so Zach goes, "Well, come on out." And so
I think Zach can make that happen.
Yeah.
You got any pull down there?
Yeah, and Thursday we drove down Magnolia Lane with Zach to his first tee time. My dad's bawling. I actually have the video on my phone, and yeah, so it's just been a cool world, and the golf world itself has been really like fun to get to like meet people, talk to them, because there's some cool people in this.
No doubt about
Keep
it.
tightening up that game. Start beating Mark Mulder in these things. Have you gotten to meet Mark? He wins all these celebrity things. It's obnoxious how good and tall he is. You can't miss him.
No, he's intimidating. I've gotten to meet him. He plays in all of them, but he's intimidating because he's like, I don't know, he was taller than me.
Yeah.
And I'm
huge.
like 6'4". He's taller than me, and his shoulders stick out to about here.
Yeah.
Him and I have nothing in common.
He'd be the guy taking the shirt off quick at the Bachelor. For sure. Oh, what, pool time? All right, I'll go.
Yeah. But no, he's always up there in the leaderboard.
Yeah, go get his ass, bro.
All right, let's get to the emergency 9.
There
9
you go.
fun questions
Okay.
we ask. Okay, we do this with everyone. You can trade lives with anyone for a day, dead or alive. Who are you going to choose?
Right now, Xander Schauffele.
Oh, wow. Shout out Xander Schauffele.
Yeah.
You're a
He's
little
living the
jet
dream.
lagged right now. Yeah.
Little jet lag, but he's also in Memphis playing golf right off of a gold medal in golf. And
He's going to like hearing that.
yeah, I think that's a big deal. I mean, he's one of my favorites on tour right now. I mean, obviously, I like Rahm a lot, and I love Zach. But like, I really respect Xander, and I think his game is great. And so he's kind of living the dream this week.
I like that.
He's doing it.
Yeah.
You're going to have a long career in front of him. All right, next one. You got a book entitled Alone in Plain Sight.
Yeah.
If you're going to write a book only about your golf game, what would the title be?
Short misses.
Short misses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Short and crooked?
Yeah, short and crooked. Yeah.
Good. Shit. I could write the sequel to it.
You're an Indiana Hoosier.
Yeah.
Favorite all-time Hoosier?
That's got to be a pretty easy question for me. Honestly, Cody Zeller. Good buddy of mine. Just signed with the Blazers yesterday. Just a stud. And when I was at IU, he turned the program around with a couple other guys.
What are games like there? Just incredible.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah.
I was also there when IU was terrible. Like, that was the Crean's first year. So he had to bring in this, like, so I played for Indiana Elite in high school, which is an AAU team that when we were ranked nationally, 4 of my buddies and teammates went to play for IU. There's a reason I didn't. But they all walked on or played for him. And so I got to go to these games and watch it. They're insane, no matter if we're good or bad.
That's awesome.
Is that how you blew the ACL? Basketball?
Football, actually.
football.
I rolled out in my junior year of high school and threw and blew the ACL out. And then I went and kept playing pickup and blew it out again. So then I realized I was done.
Oh, you're a quarterback.
Yeah. Way back in the
Way
day.
back.
Yeah.
Still quarterback.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I don't know how closely you follow golf if you'll know these names, but I kind of hope you don't, actually, for one of them. Which tour player would make the better Bachelor?
Okay.
Harry Higgs or Wyndham Clark?
Harry Higgs.
Yes!
I knew you'd nail it.
Isn't the match coming up with him in it? And one of the reasons he's got chosen because of his dressing.
Yeah, Liberty National.
Yeah.
Him and Phil are doing a little
if you
action.
notice, like, I haven't buttoned my shirt up in
Yeah.
a while because I feel like I look like him.
He's
well,
bringing the chest hair back, too.
Yeah.
He would have
we're,
no
we're
issue.
complimenting Harry a little too much right now.
I just knew it wouldn't be Wyndham. He doesn't have it.
We did nickname Harry Higgs Big Beautiful.
Oh,
God,
he is.
he's-
And his last name's great.
Yeah.
I actually betted on him a few months ago.
No, FanDuel.
You FanDueled it?
FanDuel.
He's
I
FanDueled it.
FanDueled
Smart.
I FanDueled
Yeah.
Harry Higgs a few months ago. Mostly, this is maybe over a year ago during quarantine. There's a tournament going on. I'd never really heard of him. And I did it, and I looked him up. I was like, oh, no, I like this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
a good
he's
dude.
fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
He is a great dude. So much fun to be around. All right, next one. More nervous teeing it up at Tahoe the first time or waiting to see if you got a rose on your first ever show at the Bachelorette?
Tahoe, no question. In fact, I went over with one of the Sharp brothers in the van from the hotel for my very first tee time, and he was like, dude, are you nervous? I was like, oh, I'm so nervous, man. Like, I'm shaking in the back. Like, there's, I don't know, 15,000 people there. And And he's like, come with me. So he walks me back in the locker room, and like Steph Curry's sitting next to my locker and all this stuff, and he pulls out a bottle of tequila, and we take a shot at tequila. He's like, this will help you.
There you go.
I don't know if it did.
See, they know how to get ready up there. They know how to get ready for an event.
We were built for Tahoe.
Oh, dude, we're built for the Jicky Jacks. I tell you that. I had one. You already answered. It was going to be, does Chris Harrison get to bring his clubs when he goes on all these trips with you? So I'll ask you a different one here. Yeah, that's a hell of a gig. All right, I'll give you one. Most embarrassing moment, rewatching your show, is there ever a moment where you're just like, oh, my God, I can't believe I did that?
Oh, this one's going to really – I really hate talking about this moment because it's just not, like, great to keep publicizing. But
people like self-deprecation.
Anyway. Yeah, so if you look at my season of The Bachelor and you look at the promo picture, it's me standing in a waterfall with JoJo.
I love it.
And we're in bathing suits and we're close to each other, and you can imagine what's happening at that point. Well, it's embarrassing enough to have it on TV and like it flashes through and like it's kind of from a distance so nobody can tell what's going on down below. Let alone it becomes the promo picture. And so I don't know if you've ever watched The Bachelor where like they have the picture and then they black out like the background and they like sketch the picture. It's kind of like what they tease every week. Well, they sketch this thing with with me, fully happy.
And cold water, dude. Cold water. Yeah. Damn, guys.
And so, like, for every week, my family had to watch this promo come up on TV. Every week.
They don't edit that out? What are they doing?
Dude, I don't know what they were thinking. Like, I don't know. Like, it's very obvious to me. You can actually Google it. Like, I've never been so embarrassed and, like.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so that one still pops up, like, all of a sudden on my
Pun.
text.
That thing pops up.
Yeah.
Cold water. Friggin', come on, bro.
But that is one of the most embarrassing moments. But it's also, like, something you're very cautious of on the show, because you got to think, like,
you got to allow for that.
It's 3 months.
Yeah,
right.
Tight quarters.
All right, my last one. Listen, you're obviously one of the most famous bachelors of all time. I know you got some pull, but we've seen that Bachelor in Paradise show where all these girls run around in a bunch of bikinis. Can you get me and Sleaze to be the bartenders on that show?
Yeah, who's the bartender? What's
Wells
name?
Adams, who's actually here
he
this
needs some
week.
help, bro.
He's playing in this with me this week.
We'll be the bar back.
He just flew in. He became the host this year, so he's taking over the duties, and so the bar is open.
Vacant
boys.
bar?
The bar is open.
Transfusions for days. We'll be the little moles.
Transfusions. Wow, you.
Yeah, get you one.
He's
of those.
transfusion. I'm a tequila guy.
Get you one of those, Benny.
Yeah, I think we can make this work. I mean, I think
God.
you can do it. I feel like you can make your drinks. A lot of margaritas down there.
Subpar, we're going to have to take a little hiatus. We're going to be the bartenders on Paradise.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, last one from me. What was more nerve-wracking? Having to hit a high, what's more nerve-wracking for you? Having to hit a high, soft pitch off a tight lie in front of a gallery, or getting ready for the first night in the fantasy suite?
That's
pressure.
First night in the fantasy suite. I'd actually say, like, at this point in my golf career, I am there to enjoy the moment because I don't know how many more moments I'll be getting. And so if I chunk one, I'm still out in front of a gallery and people are still watching. First night in fantasy suite is the very first time you have to talk to somebody for like a couple hours straight without a producer standing 10 foot from you. And like you become like the awkward boy in the corner that's just like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
So definitely more.
And you got to be ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ben, this has been so much fun for us. By the way, plug your restaurant real quick. Before
Yeah,
if you're in Denver.
If you're ever in Denver, I have 2 restaurants out there: Ashkara, which is in the Highlands, and then Mr. Oso, which is in Rhino. One's Puerto Rican, one is Mediterranean. They're great. It's fantastic spots. So thank you. Come out, check those out. Check out Generous Coffee Shop out there if you're ever in Denver. It's a place to be.
If you're in the Mile High, hit it up.
Yep.
Ben Higgins,
Thank you, Benny.
Been a pleasure.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, bro.
All right, well, that was Ben Higgins on Golf Subpar. Sleaze, much different interview for us. A lot of fun. And just for you future people out there that want to be a bachelor, maybe just lie and say you love golf.
Yeah, it's a hell of a process to get in there. It's a full body scan to become the bachelor. And I knew it. I freaking knew it when they go in there and they're 20 chicks or whatever at the beginning and they got to go through. It's like Angela, Renee, Jill. Like, there's no way you can remember all those names after talking to these girls for 3 minutes one time. So I knew they were going back and forth and had to get like, all right, give me that chick's name again. Knew it happened. Always thought so. And now we have confirmation. But damn, what a ride! And we're gonna be bartenders probably is what it sounds
Bachelor in Paradise bartenders, Gravy and the Sleaze.
Yeah,
Colt and Drew. We're gonna be there on Bachelor in Paradise most likely. If they don't, they're crazy.
Hey, barkeep, can I get a pina colada? Nope, double transfusion. Shut up. Here you go. All the time.
We know how to make transfusions and tequila shots.
Right. What
you
do you
like
want?
that? Sorry, you're not going to qualify for this year's.
You're
going
to get kicked off this show next week, anyways. So,
but it is crazy. I mean, what a world we live in. Here's a guy who just really didn't like his job, got this opportunity to go on The Bachelorette and became one of the most famous dudes in the world.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You wake up one day and you're, writing, script or whatever that he was writing at the time, just a regular 9-to-5 job. Next thing you wake up, bam, Us Weekly, everywhere you go, cameras. I mean, that's a hell of a run in a very short period of time. That Bachelor life's a different beast. But it was fun getting every dude out there, whether you like it or not, you've seen The Bachelor, you've watched it. It's kind of fun to get the little ins and outs of all that show, what goes on behind the scenes.
And I loved him talking about how he handled Tahoe, how nervous he was, teeing it up in front of people. The karaoke story, which was unbelievable. Here we got Justin Timberlake, Rascal Flatts singing. Oh, and Ben Higgins, take it away.
Imagine that, JT, and then you think it's a spoof deal. That's a hell of a prank, even if it was unintentional. That is a hell of a prank to pull up there. All right, bud, you're up. Yep. Go get him. Oh, pick Whitney, by the way. That'll be an easy one to do.
Oh, I love it. So good.
Ben Chris Harrison getting to play golf, bring his sticks every single place he goes. That has to be one of the best gigs on planet Earth. You come in, guys. This is the final rose. All right, see you tomorrow. I'm going to play St. Andrews.
Here's $12 million, and I'm going to go play golf.
All right, how many roses left? Oh, final one? All right, got it. All right, go get your tea time, bro.
All right, well, man, Ben Higgins, that was awesome. Really, really enjoyed it. A little different for us, like I said, but a lot of fun. Hope y'all enjoyed it. All right, Sleaze, it is time to get to the gambling part, and that means FanDuel, the #1 sports book in all the land. Sleaze, you want to add a little excitement to your golf watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Sleaze, the biggest thing for us is the app is very simple to use.
That could not be emphasized enough how easy the app is to use. The worst thing in the world is, all right, football game, I want to get some action on. Oh, it's about to kick. Let me sign in. Let me do all this stuff. And you can't get there and the ball's in the air and it says bet not available. You get on FanDuel, that thing is easy to use. Even I can use it.
It takes 2 seconds to place a bet.
It's good.
It's scary / awesome all at the same time. But there's all kinds of cool promotions, enhanced odd boost, everything you want. And if you win, they even get you your winnings in as quickly as 24 hours.
Also cannot be overstated how important that is. Some of these books you go in, you win, all right, give me my money. And they need like a birth certificate and a urine sample and all this stuff. It takes forever. You end up just losing it. FanDuel gets you that money.
And right now, Sleaze, FanDuel is letting you place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Just place a bet on any game or golfer, and FanDuel will refund you up to $1,000 back if you don't win your first bet. I mean, are you kidding me? You just throw a $1,000 bet out there, and if you win, great. If you lose, no problem.
That's the kind of book I'm into. Win will pay you, lose, don't worry about it. Not many of those around.
Like I said, if you lose, you'll get your entire bet up to $1,000 back in site credit. No big deal. That is absolutely incredible. That is why FanDuel is the best.
That's why, in our very unbiased opinions, best sports book on the planet. I lost a lot of hands in blackjack last night. You know what they didn't say? Hey, don't worry about it. We'll just pay you when you win.
Here's your chips back.
You know what? Good try. You should have won on that 19 against the 21, the 8-card 21.
All right. Well, if you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Go to FanDuel.com/subpar or download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and get started. Be sure to sign up with promo code SUBPAR so they know that we sent you. Disclaimer, must be 21 years or older and present in New Jersey. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, well, let's get to our
speed dial for the kid.
Exactly. All right, well, let's get to our FanDuel picks, Sleaze. We almost started off this wonderful relationship 2-0. We got Abe Answer at the WGC in Memphis. We touted Russell Henley, who was in full control for 71 holes. 3-putt bogey on the last, ended up missing a playoff. God, I mean, if we would have started 2-0, boy, we might have had to have FanDuel add a couple zeros to that contract.
Shut it down at that point. Yeah, it just comes out with the lead day one, leading the entire time. Even in the 72nd, I was like, all right, worst case, he's going to catch a playoff, at least have a chance. And it just wasn't meant to be. But pretty good run there we had. So let's get to our FanDuel picks here before we get into our one-and-done picks. Two different things. Let me start off here. I know you got one you like. I like sitting at 22-1. Well, Xander Schauffele, the gold medalist. I mean, things are going pretty well for him right now. I think he's had enough time now for that gold medal and the media circus and all the stuff that comes along with it to die down. It's time to punch the clock again for him. But 22-1, I mean, I feel like he should be a lot less than that going into this week. One of the guys I would pick outright, honestly, and he's there at 22. So Xander's my FanDuel pick of the week. Really like him.
Yeah, we got John Rahm as the favorite at 11-1, Colin Morikawa and Dustin Johnson at 17-1. I'm looking for Dustin Johnson to finally get it going and be in contention. I really like Dustin Johnson around Liberty National. As far as some guys with a little bit of value, I am shocked by this. This man has had a nice track record around Liberty National. He just lost in a playoff at the Wyndham Championship. Adam Scott. I mean, he's a good-looking man, and so are his odds. 43-1.
Yeah, 40. Could be a little hangover after that little whoopsie-daisy there in the playoff last week. But when you're Adam Scott, you look in the mirror and be like, I'm still better looking than everybody. My swing's prettier than everybody, and I'm rich. So, I mean, maybe you shake that off a little faster than the average bear. But, yeah, that's a great number for Adam Scott as well. So, good looking for Adam Scott here as he makes a little run into the playoffs. So, those are the FanDuel picks
No,
of the week.
No. We're not done yet. I got one more for you, Sleaze.
Oh, you got a double dip.
We're trying to make a lot of money here.
Okay, who we got now?
And just because this man shook his ass all over Liberty National during the President's Cup, Siwoo Kim is going to shake his ass over Liberty National once again. He's going off at 90-1. Just got to throw him in there for some value.
And just to say shaking that ass a few times.
Exactly.
That
was
fun.
totally it.
Even if you don't like him, be like, I hate him, but let's go with Siwoo shaking that ass, Kim. Yeah.
Love it.
All right, there you go.
Yeah,
90-1.
no
Get paid on that.
All right. Well, still, make sure you go sign up at the FanDuel Sportsbook and use promo code Subpar. Let them know that we sent you and get amongst it with FanDuel and Golf Subpar. All right, Sleaze, let's get to the one and done, which was a little rough last week. You took Ricky Fowler. I took Ches Reavie. We combined for $0.
Couple of goose eggs on the board. Props to us for those astute picks.
Stay hot.
Dude, I wasn't expecting Ricky Fowler to win this thing or whatever, but being on the bubble like that guy that's, been in huge situations, I thought he would go and have a week and get to the playoffs. I did. I wasn't like, hey, I think this guy's going to win, but I was shocked by that, and I'm still shocked by the fact that he didn't play the Barracuda the week before just to give himself 2 cracks at it. So disappointing and a little regroup time for Ricky right now. I guess he can go to the drawing board and figure out what's working and what's not, and hopefully he gets back playing some good golf. It's that putter, man, that's really kind of abandoned him.
Yeah. And my guy, Ches Reavie, I found out Thursday after his round in Wyndham, I saw him. He stepped in a hole in Tahoe, hurt his knee. I was like, hey, bud, maybe just say, hey, just in case you're going to pick me this week. I stepped in a hole, tweaked my knee a little bit, ends up missing the cut, but he's on to the FedEx Cup playoffs. So, Ches, you owe me a drink or 12.
These damn holes out there. Got to avoid those beasts.
Unbelievable.
You never know in this game.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for another fantastic episode.
We got to make our one and done picks.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I got ahead of myself.
Go. Yeah.
Well,
I know you want it to be over.
I want it to be over. I don't want to miss another cut.
All right. Well, I'll lead her off then because I only got 2 big names left. I have not used them. DJ and Rory are still in the chamber. I'm sending DJ out this week. I mean, he's had 2 top 10s in his last 3 with a little miscut in between, but I haven't used them the whole year. These are zero thought behind these. It's just DJ and then Rory. So DJ this week for the sleaze.
All right. Well, I'm going with a guy. I'm just going. My year is totally screwed, so I'm just going to go off the board. Yeah. I mentioned him in our FanDuel pick. He's a good-looking man. Played really nice golf last week when he had to make these playoffs. He loves Liberty National. Adam Scott.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. And next year, we had talked about this last night as we were at the card tables. As you know, here in Vegas, there's a lot of dancers, a lot of activity around. So we had some go-go dancers around the blackjack tables. I was sitting there, and I was like, what would it take to get up on there and dance for a song? And then I had the idea, next year for our gambling, losers should have to dance up there in uniform for one song, or you could buy your way out of it.
This will be
but it could take a
number.
number.
On. Let's take it 1 year at a time.
Video for days.
All right. Well, that is now going to do it for another fantastic episode of Golf Subpar. Next week, we got a ball-striking Jesse joining us. Lucas Glover will be with us on Golf Subpar. Thanks for listening. Everyone have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.